All right, so this is Shane and Seth over at SWR Motorsports here in Southern California. Today we're going to be showing you a DIY process on doing the Koni inserts on an E36 BMW. It's going to range from the 92 to 99 model years. This one specifically is going to be a 96 M3. So as you can see, we have one already assembled to show you guys. We're running it with the H&R springs. This is one of the ones pulled from the car. Obviously it's pretty bad condition, you know, leaking, blown. The car's got over 200,000 miles on it. This here is the insert cartridge that we're going to be installing into the stock housing. I also have new parts like new top hats, bump stops, etc. Along with all hardware. It's going to be some of the tools that are needed. I'm going to be using a 3/8 torque wrench with a 8mm Allen. You need measuring tape. You need a drill to drill out the bottom of the stock housing to drain the fluid and remove the old cartridge. And various instructions that you guys are going to want to look at. Obviously these are going to be included when you purchase the kit. Alright, so over here we have the shock assembly disassembled, no spring top hat, all that's gone, and is prepped now in a vise for us where we're going to mark the center of the bottom of it, right there. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to add a little bit of lubrication on it because the drill is going to get pretty hot. We're going to drill through the center. So it's nice to have a pan here on the bottom to catch the oil.
Let's see. There's multiple layers that you have to go through, so yeah.
See, that's why we have our pan here ready. Cycle the shock.
I'm gonna drill it more though. It's not completely through, it just barely.
So while doing this, obviously make sure you're using proper safety equipment such as eyeglasses. Alright, you get the point.
So the instructions say to cut about 25mm down from the lip, which is a little bit less than an inch. So I usually go about 3/4 of an inch or a little bit more, so if you need to do it again, you have the room to do so.
Okay, so move your oil container out of the way.
Now you don't have to cut all the way through the shock. You only have to cut, it says 2.5mm or so, but you kind of get the idea once you start going.
See,
Once you're
just
done,
a thin layer.
the whole insert will come out. insert out, you got to drill the bottom hole down up to a 34/64, which is the third step on this bit. You don't have to use a step bit, it's just the only bit I have that goes that big. And now we're done with this disassembly part of it. Now we're going to clean it up and paint it.
Alright, so now we have the shock assembly painted. We have the cartridge from Koni right here. As you see, it's threaded on the bottom. That is why you draw out the hole in the bottom of the shock. Now what we're going to do is, after we cut it, we file down the inside right here, so that way there's no rough edges to catch onto the shock. I'm going to put the cartridge in, just feed it in. A little bit of a twisting motion helps if it's struggling. All right, so as you can see there, you have the threads. We're going to now follow the instructions, use the provided washer with the concave side facing in, along with the second washer and the provided 8mm Torx, or Allen, sorry. All right, so make sure you're not cross-threading it. Install it. You now have your torque wrench set to 75 Newton meters. It's all right if the shock absorber is not sitting all the way inside, as this will pull it down as you start to torque it. All right. So we have an issue with our torque wrench. 75 Newton meters. All right.
Well, the only thing left is to install that rubber sleeve that goes over the part of the Koni insert that's shown.
And then you reassemble everything, get your spring back on. In this case, like I said earlier, we're going to be using an H&R spring. We have new bump stop, new seals, all that fun stuff, new top hat. So, all right, so here we are with the car buttoned up. Here you can see the new, or actually we should say refurbished, front strut unit reinstalled on the car, again with the Koni inserts and the H&R springs. All new hardware for the assembly. So with this car we also took care of full brakes front and rear, including the parking brake. This car also received a full suspension overhaul to include sway bar end links, outer tie rods. The full rear subframe was dropped. Again, here you have the rear Konis, but this is a more direct install, so we're not bothering with the video on that one. But the whole subframe was removed. All the bushings were replaced in that. new lower control arm bushings, etc. So it's one of those things that this customer wanted to do everything in one shot. We also ended up doing Rogue Engineering rear shock mounts on this one. Let's see if I can get a light in there 1 second. This is going to be those Rogue Engineering. These are going to be the bolt-on reinforcement plates, not the weld-on type. But it definitely makes it a lot easier to install when doing this. The nuts are on the bottom. Again, H&R springs in the rear. End up doing stainless steel brake lines as well, front and rear, along with the clutch line. As you can see, new subframe bushings. Work the light around here. So yeah, some of the things we did here. So one of the things we do want to touch up on you with before you install your new front Koni adjustable insert is going to be that you get this adjustment knob here. Unfortunately, it does not fit with the way the offset is on the mounts up front. So that's something you're going to want to keep in mind, that you're going to want to adjust that before you reassemble everything and install it onto the car. So they do have instructions included. Choose how soft or stiff you want your ride. But yeah, that's one of the things you definitely want to watch out for, is you have the slotted key and it just doesn't fit. So make sure you keep that in mind. If you're also doing this, make sure you're doing the M3 reinforcement plates on the bottom that are going to be underneath the strut tower, because that will help prevent those infamous cracks that you get. So we have down both sides here. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. This is our first DIY video that we're going to be doing here at our shop. We do handle a lot of unique things, and this was one of the ones we wanted to touch up on. Over here, we're going to have the SWR race car, which is, if you've been following the channel so far, it's mostly just been races of the car. But this is the S54 swapped race car. So you can see there's a lot going on here. One of the next videos we're going to be doing, we have a radium surge tank with adjustable fuel pressure regulator and fuel filter installation. So we're going to show you guys how to do that. And then we have some Hayden Motorsports coolers that we're going to be showing you guys some installation procedures on, and maybe some tips and tricks about what we figured out works best for these cars, as we've been struggling with oil temperature issues the last year or so racing. And it's a lot of test and tune, you know, nothing works right the first time. You know, everything's going to be a little bit different, so we're going to explain some of the issues and how we overcame them on this car. So make sure you guys are subscribing. Make sure you guys watch out for videos that we have ahead, and if you guys have other DIY videos you guys are interested in seeing, you know, we'll start taking a list down, and if we get a car in that has a specific job, you know, we'll try to get you guys a DIY video on that. Let us know what you think in the comments. You know, if you guys have any other tips and tricks you want to share, let us know. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys soon.